and my eldest daughter has decided to go to Syracuse, which will cost $31,000 a year, all in the same year. Where high are we going? Am I folding my leg or? Okay.
So you put that $160
right towards Syracuse University. Am I looking at you or the camera?
You're looking at me.
Okay. You've done this before, haven't you?
Just once or twice.
Okay.
But only the fun memories are with Art Garfunkel.
But you didn't get to do you didn't get to do Keith Richards, did you?
No, but I did Dylan.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So, one of our great poets.
One day you guys will let me look at that show, right? No, I'll never be able to see that show.
It's still not done.
Oh, okay.
If you want to see a rough, do you want to see the last rough cut?
I'd just like to see it one day.
Okay, it's a nice show.
Okay.
Thank you. So, let's talk about Bobby Brooks.
Okay.
Do you have any Bobby Brooks stories?
Well, look, it's not so much that I have stories, but in an industry that's changed radically since Bobby's passing, I think it's important to look back at what Bobby's life was really all about. Bobby was a real life-affirming kind of guy. He was a guy who always looked at the glass half full, not half empty. Which, if we look around at most of our industry, it's not really the day-to-day practice of most people's attitude towards life. So Bobby was a guy who was a blast to talk to. When the phone rang and it was Bobby Brooks on the phone, you picked it up right away because it was going to be an enjoyable experience more often than not. I still miss him, and I think about him, and I think about what he might have been like in this current atmosphere of consolidation and of the industry really moving very quickly and not necessarily always in a humane way. Bobby was a very humane guy, hence the work that we're doing with the Bobby Brooks Foundation, I think is something that he'd be very proud of, especially down in Newark. Bobby, grew up in Jersey, as I did, and as you've seen, the work that the foundation is able to do, and the project specifically in Newark, is just that. It's life affirming. It gives you the opportunity to not only take stock in your own lives and see how fortunate we all really are, but more importantly, see that we really can make a difference. And I think that's important, and I think it's important that we as an industry give something back, not just to the audiences that can afford to go to our shows, not just to help support the young musicians or the young actors or the young comedians, but also to support the people who are less fortunate than us, who may one day become the next Miles Davis, the next Jerry Garcia, the next Madonna, the next Alanis Morissette. Those kids need that help, and they need that life-affirming support to know that they can get the most out of life. And I think that's a lot about what Bobby was about and what the foundation's about.
There are thousands of charitable organizations where the Bobby Brooks Foundation's money could have gone. Why? You might have answered this already, but I want to make sure. Why communities and schools?
Well, Communities in Schools is a program that has associated itself really probably wisely from the very beginning to the big picture entertainment industry, entertainment and sports. There are programs that actually an organization like the Bobby Brooks Foundation can adopt. We've adopted this school in Newark, New Jersey. So that rather than huge sums of money going into administrative help or in fundraising causes, this money is really going directly to helping young kids at risk. And I think that's probably the reason, and Bobby's interest in education, Bobby's interest in the youth of the inner cities, I think that's probably why the board decided to go with Communities in Schools.
Now, you've been to the Wilson School,
right,
which is now called the Bobby Brooks Academy.
Right.
And you've had a tour.
Oh, I've been there a number of times, yeah.
What's your impression of what's going on there?
Well, it's sociologically so interesting. You look around a block away, a half a block away, a few feet away, and there's utter devastation and poverty. A lot of the kids who are in this program and go to this school, if it wasn't for our support, our foundation's support, and other support, they wouldn't have any structure to their lives at all. They indeed probably wouldn't get any good meals. The lunch program there is vital. It's not just gratuitous. It's vital. These kids, and some of them, simply wouldn't get a hot meal ever if it wasn't for this school. It's a real oasis in the midst of devastation that really has continued since the 1967 Newark riots, which are now just starting to turn around. I mean, one of the other wonderful things about this little oasis is that now, maybe 4 miles away, 5 miles away, in downtown Newark, and this school is located in what's called the Central Ward, a real poor neighborhood that in 67 was literally burnt down by the riots. But 4 or 5 miles away in downtown Newark, there's this wonderful new New Jersey Performing Arts Center. And so there's this great sort of bookends of world-class facility. It's first new performing arts center that's been built in the Northeast in 30 years, a Lincoln Center type complex, and then the Wilson School and the Bobby Brooks Academy, just a few miles away, really showing these kids that there is an uplift potential to their lives, and being able to look down the street and see what that could become. So it's a devastating first look when you go there if you're not from the area. And even though I work in New York and live in New Jersey, you're never really faced with that kind of poverty, drug addiction, violent crime that you're faced with right there within, as I said, just a few feet of this school. So this oasis that's been created, I think is very special and gives an opportunity for a significant group of young people to have a real chance and have a head start.
When I was there last week, I was expecting a real inner city school. I was expecting to go through a metal detector on the way in. I was expecting to see security guards, which is what we have in a lot of public schools here in New York City. And instead, I walked right in. One security guard was there, no metal detector. It did seem to be an oasis, someplace special. Is that purposeful?
Well, I think, certainly the Bobby Brooks Foundation can't take total credit for that. I think there's a great staff there. The Newark school system now is really trying to pick itself up and become a model of inner city education. There's a great principal there, and there's a community. Just because people are poor doesn't make them all criminals, and the vast majority are not. These are poor people, hardworking people who are trying to get ahead in life and want their kids to have a better shot than perhaps they did, especially if they've lived in that community for 30 years now and seen the devastation that the riots caused, and literally an entire generation has grown up devastated by that one act in the summer of 1967. There are a lot of people who I think that live in that community and who have taken in that big picture, separated by time, enabling them to support this school in every way that they possibly can, and by our being able to give some financial aid to it, gives that a boost.
That brings me to the last point. I need a call to arms from you, subtle. Why it's important that the industry get involved on any level, whether it be volunteering time, services, or money.
Okay. I think it's important that everybody watching this and everybody that's finding out about the Bobby Brooks Foundation really take a good hard look at themselves and see what they can do to help. I think that what we're doing in Newark, New Jersey is wonderful, but it's not enough. We should be able to set up Bobby Brooks Academies all over the country. And this is a organization and a foundation and a charitable organization that everybody in the music industry, everybody in the entertainment industry can support without any question of where the money goes, and without any question as you can see by going to the Bobby Brooks Academy, what the results can be. We can really make a difference. And I think that it's important for everybody to examine deep down inside their own heart and their own mind what they can do to help, and we'd sure appreciate the help anywhere we can get it. Okay?
Thank you.
Great.